So Tom, I'm curious, with your using the combination of crewed flights and drone flights, um, what kind of cross training are you doing? Or, is this like a specialty thing for UAS, or are you really expanding that because it's, you can pull resources together pretty easily for UAS versus crewed flights?
Yeah, so UAS, we're trying to get, every squadron could have a drone, and where every squadron can have an aircraft. And
Right.
and so we're getting as many members as we can train, especially up north in that, if we can't get a plane there right away. And sometimes, the drones fly when the planes can't because they're under the weather, literally, just below. And so this is a real push from national and from FEMA. We are the FEMA drone team, if you want to call it that. So we have people hire at the national level that been to Puerto Rico. They go to all the stuff, and they have a to-go team that actually goes and does everything. And so they're trying to spool it up so that right now CAP has over 3,000 drones in the inventory.
Wow.
Yeah, but some of them are training drones, but we're also training cadets, which is the young people to get involved in drones. And they're actually joining our teams as technicians now,
Oh,
meaning
nice.
they're learning what to do behind the scenes until they get their Part 107 and they can actually fly. So yeah, it's a huge thing. It's Air Force is excited too, but we have issues with where we can fly and how we can fly and what missions, because we can't use Chinese drones on certain missions. We don't want to video map everything for Beijing, I guess.
Yeah.
And the drones are actually far more effective in some small areas. If you got a 40-acre site you're searching, Thomas sent us up to some sites like that, 40 acres on an airplane. We try to search that and we all end up airsick because you go around and around and around in circles trying to cover that little tiny area. The drone can cover that in much more detail. So it's a matter of scale too, that
Yeah.
drones are just a great complement to what we do in the airplanes.
So would you say that CAP is really is continuing to grow the UAS assets and capabilities?
Oh,
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. But it's leaps and bounds. We just did a thing Saturday where we certified 12 more members in that. And a lot of our members are going out into the private field and getting drone jobs. So they're getting better equipped and helping us too, because some of them are now doing the garbage dump surveys. They measure the garbage dump daily to see how many cubic tons are being thrown in. Things like that we wouldn't think of doing. And and even mining pits, they're using drones to, calculate how much they're taking out in that. With the thermals, it's kind of unique because we may be able to see leaks of pipelines or whatever. I know down south when they had the floods down there, they could use a thermal to see kind of where the water was coming from. Was it water coming from something else versus just flood water? They found a couple discharges that were illegal from factories. And I'm sure if they're smart, they'll use it up there at the power plant to see, if they got a warm discharge going into the river, and that'd be real easy to see right away. So it picks that out real quick.
And so under what certifications or how are you operating? Are you operating under COA, or is everybody part 107, or is it different?
We have two ways to do it. Our cadets may be operating under what we call the recreational, which is the trust test, because they can't get their 107 till they're 16. So all of our people get a trust test if they're going to trust them. So they're recreational flyers, meaning they're doing things like demos or just flying them to get the experience in that. They may be part of our team, and our team consists of a minimum of 2 persons. You have a mission pilot, which is a Part 107 certified and trained pilot, and then a UAS technician, which you might call a visual observer, except the technician has all the training to know how to pull the card out, to go into drone deploy and maybe upload that stuff. So they have more skills in that, and they would be trained at least to, if something happened to the pilot, to handle the controls in an emergency to get that bird back down and that. So they all get
Well,
trained.
technically, anybody can fly under the supervision of a Part 107 pilot.
Correct. Yeah, but if we choose to have them all have the trust so they can go home, we tell them to log every hour they can to get better, and that means your little toy you're flying around the house is a loggable hour. And if you have your trust, you're actually doing it legally. In your house, you're doing it anyways, but we encourage them to go out and fly it. A lot of them are doing fixed wing, and we're just getting into the VTOL drones now. We'll start seeing them. So you got to transition from a vertical takeoff like quadcopter to now a fixed wing drone. So you got a different sense of how you fly them. And that nice thing is, when we did the fixed wing before, we had to have a landing zone. Now we don't. That thing could just plop back where it took off. And they can map so much more because they're not using all their power to keep airborne. They got wings that are supporting them in that, so they can fly longer, a larger group or larger area to do their mapping. Our one drone could do, I can't remember, it was a couple miles. We had the E384 with a Sony camera in it. It could be up 90 minutes and real easy to do a couple acres at a time, because it just was up there and staying up there. But in wind, they're a little more challenging, because to fly the course, they have to turn their nose into the wind, so to speak. And now our pictures aren't aligned perfectly, like, like the quadcopters, the edges are perfect. the fixed wing, okay, we got them slanted here and that. And we can, we get requests a lot by people when we're doing our photos to have all photos north up, so that when they're putting their maps out, they don't have to fight over, okay, where's true north and that. So we just fly it true north up, and every picture they got when we stitch them together is correct. So
well, how are you stitching them together? I mean, if you use something that actually knows how to make an orthomosaic, it doesn't matter how they're oriented.
True, but sometimes in tray they'll pull it out in a single photo. They want to really blow it up, and we call it the tray, but I call it. But when they pull that single photo out because they want to really use it for evidence or something else, then it's helpful. But we used to use Skyward, which became Aloft. We've tried Leachy and some others, but CAP is providing drone deploy. And right now, a group we're with is trying to purchase this LOC 8, LOC8.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one.
Oh, that's brand new super hybrid, but that is really good at, if you have a colored pixel you want to look for, it will highlight it and circle it for you. So now we can look for that orange life vest, or we can look for the hunting vest out in the field, or we could look for maybe a contaminant that would be a certain color and find it. So
Tom, can I stop you there real quick?
Yeah.
So it's not, what is the name of that? EF. It's not you're using the specific color
RGB.
of
RGB with the special colors and sorting out the color.
So it's a color driven thing. It's not an object based identification.
Correct. Yeah. We used to have Archer many years ago.
Yeah.
And that was our spectrum analysis type photography. And this is the same type deal. It does a spectrum analysis of the pixels, highlights them and tells us where it sees them. So that's kind of cool if you're, we might not see that. And currently on the one reason we're getting it, the search we've been working on for several months, we know what color clothing the person had. And so if we get we're going to take all our the shots we've taken doesn't matter where you get them, as long as we got them and they're high quality, and we're going to run it through that program, see if it gives us any more clues. So
Interesting.
you can use old data as long as it's good quality pictures. It don't care, because it still has all the metadata there and all that to put everything together and show and see if they can find it. So, but you don't want to use filters on the lenses of the drones then, because you can skew the pixels. So stuff way above my head, I guess. My pay grade.
Well, Tom, as always, you had a nice crowd. You were up to 37 or 38 at one point. So
Well, that's
You're-
well, I
you're the
hope they enjoy it. Yeah.
you're the star. They want to know about what you guys can do for them. So
Yeah, we don't get the calls though. I get some inquiries. We're part of Minnesota VOAD too, and I got a meeting tomorrow for floods, and so we can get kind of pulled into it by them too. But the majority of the stuff, they call us too late, like I explained. I'd rather get out there before the evidence destruction team gets out and gets rid of all my footprints. They really
Yep.
trample the area, or they add things to the scene that confuses us. So